Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all back to Gothic. So, do you notice something? There's no flickering. It's gone. I have spent many a sleepless night trying to figure this problem out, as you are all well aware. I thought it was a problem with my display drivers, or with my graphics card, or just with the mods that I have. No, it was none of those things. Absolutely not. Turns out the root of the entire problem was my recording software. I've been using DX3, which is probably the best recording software I've found so far. But every once in a while I run into little bitty problems that take me forever to figure out with it. And turns out Gothic and Gothic 2 really don't like it. A lot of the textures just go apeshit when it happens. So I've had no choice but to roll back to Fraps, which is altogether a very inferior recording software. Tends to have worse quality, has fewer options. I can't really use it to record my microphone, which is a good thing for me because in the event that my audio editor, Audacity, has a habit of crashing in the middle of a recording, and so that would enable me to use the oh lord, what happened to the... Oh, there we go. Okay. Wow, those trumpets need to stop. That was annoying. So yeah, that also might be the solution for the same problem I've been having in the enhanced edition of Gothic 2, the mod. And yeah, God, like this is just such an epiphany all of a sudden that I don't even really know what to say about it. But it really does piss me off because altogether DX3 is a much better software. Perhaps Fraps has a bit less of a performance hit. That's all that can really be said about it. Everything else about it is much more annoying. And much less versatile. But, you know, at least I figured it out. And in the end, I guess I should be thankful for that. So, what I have decided to do is I've decided that anytime someone posts a particularly good comment that I feel like addressing to the whole of my community, as it were, I am going to kind of save it as a note and refer to it in the next recording. Wow, look at that floating roof. Well, that's a bit goofy. So yeah, you can see why a lot of people don't prefer to play with a really extended view distance in this game. The bottom line is the engine could not handle rendering things that far away. So as we get closer, those details should fill in, but for now, that's a bit wonky. Unless it's always been like that and I just never noticed. Oops, a daisy. So, it's altogether just very fascinating to me that, you know, one little thing could have caused so much frustration. Anyway, what I was saying, I've decided I'm going to keep notes of the comments I kind of want to address to everybody. And I wanted to try and thank Dark Angel for recommending me the Iron Keep patch, which I often forget about. Originally, I had thought that actually solved my flickering problem, but it turns out the only reason I thought that was because after I had installed it, I ran the game without DX3 running. So when I tried to record again, of course, I turned DX3 back on, and I thought the problem came back. And by God, I've been jumping through hoops, reinstalling drivers, doing all sorts of madness, only for that little thing to be the problem. I just never made that connection, that every time I turned on DX3, that's when I had the problem. Anyway, so the Iron Keep patch should actually solve some other problems that I've always just kind of learned to deal with in this game, so that's why I never actually bothered to install the patch before. And it's probably a good idea to do it. Alright, now a fellow named, let's hope I pronounce this right, Loannis Latham, brought up how sometimes if you're carrying an NPC's weapon, he will actually react to you and confront you about it. I'm kind of wondering if we can demonstrate that with Scar here. So that would be kind of funny. So we do have his sword, and it is uniquely his sword.
Okay, let's forget about our little argument. He gets what he... Hello. You looking for...
He's not gonna do it, but, fellows like Cord and, he said the Rice Lord even might, might confront you about having their weapons, so I'll try it with them later on. Anyway, we are going to join the Fire Mages now that, son of a bitch, now that I have finished the objective from Raven and gotten our meager reward of 500 experience for it. It is time that we alter our allegiances a little bit. Now, Thoris gave us the opportunity to join the guards, but we also have to talk to him if we want to join the Fire Mages.
For Gomez!
For that guy.
I'm interested in the path of magic.
Well, in that case, maybe you should talk to Corristo. He taught Milton. I'm sure there's nothing to stop you.
Now, let me just show you the dialogue that Thoris has for becoming a guard, just because it's kind of cool. So let's pretend we're joining the guards.
I want to become a guard.
I'm glad to hear it. But first I must tell you something that I tell all new recruits. Listen carefully. I shall say this only once. So far, you've tried to get by on your own. Those days are over now. My boys stick together. We guards protect the ore barons, the ore, the camp, and the mine. The diggers collect the ore, but we make sure that they don't get eaten by crawlers. The ore barons negotiate with the king, but we're the ones that protect them. Day and night we're in the mine. Day and night we stand at the gates of the camp and make sure folks get to sleep peacefully. We were a wild bunch when we started out here, but now we're a force to be reckoned with. We've all worked hard to build up this life for ourselves. I only expect one thing from my boys, that they stick together. Only by standing together will we be able to hold on to what we have. And to survive. You'll learn everything else in due course. Be ready and help out wherever help is needed or something needs to be done. Go and ask Stone to give you some armor and a sword. You'll find Stone in the blacksmith shop in the inner ring.
And there we have it. That is,
Oh, one more thing. Welcome to the guards.
So you see Thoris, in spite of his really imposing nature and altogether very gruff demeanor.
I hear you're one of us now. Not bad for someone who's not been here long.
Thanks. So, yeah. In spite of his gruff demeanor and his outwardly very imposing figure, he's very friendly and he's got a lot of, like, comradic sense. And you know, it just occurred to me that maybe Freddy's texture pack, all the problems with that one as well, might have been resolved. I mean, that tree's still bugging out over there, so maybe not. Maybe that one also had problems because of DX3. It's hard to really say. I might have to give it another try, but I'm committed to finishing the game with what we have now, so I'm not going to try and mess with it anymore. Anyway, Thoris, he has a very strict sense of camaraderie and brotherhood, and it's something that he does also. It does carry over into Gothic 2 when you meet him in the Night of the Raven expansion. Spoiler alert. He is just very... He doesn't just act like a leader. He doesn't act like a boss like Gomez does. He tries to get everyone to work together. His word is the final law, of course, but he really... I mean, not really, because he's always working for somebody else. But the bottom line is Thoris really tries to hold the camp together and, you know, try and protect everyone. He doesn't look around these guys and see a bunch of convicts. He looks around and sees a bunch of people who have nothing else left to them, and he's just trying to help everybody make the best of it. So, he seems like an asshole the first couple times you meet with him, but he's really not. And this all stands to make his appearance in Gothic 3 even more disappointing. Simply because he loses that, first of all. In Gothic 2, he parts ways with the hero on apparently very friendly terms, and he talks about how, you know, he almost seems grateful for you helping him keep the camp together, because it's really all the guys have left, and he just seems overall very friendly and just kind of very happy with his lot in life. And then when you meet him in Gothic 3, suddenly he's just like really pissed off at you. He's really unfriendly. He's not got any sense of like devotion to anybody anymore. And he just seems like he's all in it for himself, and it's a huge letdown after everything that built up. And credit, who have I been talking to? I think I don't want to get your name wrong, so forgive me, but we shared a few comments about how Spellbound tried to work with the characters in Gothic 4. And I do have to say, even though Thoris didn't really have much of an appearance, at least in the prequel stories, the Cleaved Maiden stories, it did try to restore his sense of brotherhood. And it's simply that his new sort of brotherhood was the orcs, as opposed to the bandits and old camp and all that. So he still tried to make the best of everything he had. He tried to hold the small group of orcs he was traveling with. He tried to hold them together and keep them alive. So altogether, that all kind of came back, and I really want to give credit to the Spellbound writers for doing their best with the characters, in my opinion, even though it seemed like they weren't really sure what they were doing with them, because, you know, it was a tall order to try and produce a sequel for a franchise that had gotten 3 games and had such a dedicated following, and to just be kind of like handed this whole franchise and told to work with it. So they did really well with some of the characters, just not all of them, and of course the story itself with that was absolutely garbage, but so be it. Anyway, we want to join...
We have heard what you achieved in the old mine. Without the mine crawlers, ore mining has become much safer. Corristo knows of your achievements too. He wishes to speak to you. Go to him.
To him I shall go.
See you later.
You too, buddy. And this would be Corristo himself.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Tell me, what is it like to be a magician?
We are magicians of fire. We are the servants of Enos, the highest of all gods. Our magic is a gift from the gods. We've been chosen to act as priests, tutors, and judges. It's a gift which is a constant burden to us, a task which determines our lives.
I'd like to enter the magic circle.
So you want to become a magician of the Circle of Fire? Many have wanted to join us, but throughout the years I've only taken one as my apprentice. All the others have failed. Your spirit is mature and ready to join us. If you want to become a magician, I must test you first. Let me know when you're ready for the test.
Oh, the test of fire.
I'm up for it. Just test me.
Good. You have served the Brotherhood in the swamp. Have you not?
I have.
Yes.
What is the name of our god?
Enos.
Yanos.
Which is the highest virtue of all?
Oh. Shit. Discipline?
The discipline of a man.
You have replied well and rightly. I shall teach you the art of magic. Follow me to the Hall of Magic, where you will take the ancient vow.
Alright, so he's gonna lead us upstairs and hold us to a ceremony to kind of inaugurate us in the sort of miniature circle of fire here in the old camp. Now, I just wanted to take a closer look at these runes. I don't normally see these. I don't really remember Is this part of the, is this like the normal textures for this, or are these added by ThielHater's texture pack? I really don't remember. They're all over the place. I definitely don't recall seeing them in Gothic 2. I don't know why they would have changed them, but I'm just trying to compare them. These look like the exact same runes on the pillars and pedestals in the swamp camp. So it seems to me that they've probably been cutting and pasting them, but who was it? Let me just take a quick look. I'm going to talk about this in more depth once we actually reach the Orc Cave, but oh, son of a bitch. MG Master. Him and I were kind of talking about the connection between the runes in the swamp camp and the runes that we end up seeing in the Orc Cemetery, and kind of an interesting thought about that, but it just seems when looking at all this and seeing how they're reusing the runes even for the chapel here, it just seems to me that they're just cutting and pasting it. And we're trying to rationalize what in the end is really just kind of lazy design, but we'll talk about that more when we come to it. So here we got a pentagram. It's interesting, the symbology of the pentagram here, or the symbolism, I should say. You know, like most people interpret a pentagram as a satanic symbol, but in games like this, the pentagram is often just used as sort of just a symbol of magical arts, and that's just kind of how it's viewed here. So here we go.
Here today to ordain a servant of fire. Now take the oath of fire. I swear by the might of the gods.
I swear by the might of the gods.
I swear by the force of the holy fire.
I swear by the force of the holy fire.
That my knowledge and my deeds from now on and forever shall be one with the flame.
That my knowledge and my deeds from now on and forever shall be one with the flame.
Until my body shall return to the realm of Beliar, and the fire of my life be extinguished.
Until my body shall return to the realm of Beliar, and the fire of my life be extinguished.
By uttering the words of the oath, you have now entered into a bond of fire, where this robe is a sign of the eternal bond.
I have been bonded.
Take this rune, the gift of Inaz. May it protect you on your path.
For each of the circles, there is a book explaining its magic. Study these books. Knowledge is power.
Guard it well.
Take the book of the first circle and learn to understand the fire.
Thanks.
May the fire always protect you.
Let me pass.
And also with you. Anyway, I don't know why I unequipped all my weapons there, but like I just set himself on fire. Yeah, it's kind of an elaborate ceremony there by comparison to what we see in some of the later games. It's cool that they went through that much detail, but it also brings up an interesting concept. He talks about souls returning to the realm of Beliar once your life is ended, basically. And that altogether is kind of interesting because it does... You know, I think that's the first time we've heard the name Beliar. Beliar is supposed to be the god of darkness. So it's interesting to me that the teachings of Innos presume that souls go to Beliar's realm when they die. And I'm kind of wondering, like, how is that a comfort in any way? The idea that you're going to the god that your patron deity is fighting against. I'm just kind of wondering, what do they expect to see there in that kind of afterlife? Because the concept of an afterlife is rarely ever touched upon in this game. The only time we see any signs of an afterlife is in the expansion for Gothic 2, where we actually meet a couple ghosts and learn that the culture of the Jarkandarians relied heavily upon the wisdom of the spirits of their ancestors. So evidently, wherever the spirits of the Jarkandarians went, that could be called back from. And I don't know, it's just altogether very interesting. I wish there was kind of more insight into what the common modern individual of Murtana believed in regards to life after death. Anyway, we got a book. This is the first circle of magic. We have not learned the first circle. I don't know where it says. Yeah, the thingy. Regeneration. Wait a minute. Is regeneration actually a skill you can get? I feel I've never actually looked at... I realize I haven't looked down there for a long time. I think regeneration is actually a skill that they never finished implementing in this game. So I think it still shows up in the skill list, but I'm pretty sure you can never actually get it, but that's kind of odd. Anyway, where it says magic, it says magic no. That means we have not even learned the first circle of magic yet. And I'm actually going to hold off on that, simply because the first circle of magic, the spells in the first circle, as we've seen... Yeah, I don't need the map. The spells in the first circle are Ice Bolt, Firebolt, and Light. None of those are actually all that useful. So, I'm not even going to worry about it. We are a competent enough swordsman to make the best of our skills and deal with the problems from here. So I'm gonna hang on to all of my skill points for now. Once I have a stockpile of them, I'm kind of then going to decide what to do with them. But what I am going to do is I'm going to buy the runes from the fire mages that I think I'm going to use, because I believe that later on we actually won't be able to buy those anymore once we've reached a certain point in the game. And without mentioning any spoilers, all I'm going to say is that their merchant inventory is not really going to be available anymore. And I'm pretty sure you can't buy those runes from the water mages. So it's a good idea to get those when you, as early as you can. And since we've got 3,000 ore, I think we might be able to buy a few of the good ones. Alright, so I'm going to head back to the swamp camp really quick, just because I did want to take a quick look at those runes. I'm going to kind of edit it so we can see them back to back and just see if they really are just cut and paste. Alright, so we were told to use Talus to lead us to the Orc Cemetery. I'll do it just to demonstrate that he will, in fact, lead you there in case you're having any trouble finding it. It's really not that hard to find. It's pretty much along the path to where he led you to the Black Goblins to find the Almanac before.
Cor Angar sent me. He said you should take me to the Orc Cemetery so I can find Bal Licor and his Templars.
So I'm the gopher again. Damn. I just should never have lost that almanac. Well then, come with me. I'm not taking you across this bridge. I don't want to commit suicide. You must be mad to go in there. Even Bal Licor and his Templars didn't get out again.
We'll see what happens. Go back to the camp. I'll be there later.
Alright, so he's not going to help us at all, but we unfortunately have to press on alone. So this is going to be our first run-in with orcs. And it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. We are pretty strong. Oh yeah, and those things over there, they're weird little lizard creatures, but I think they are actually things that are domesticated by orcs. Let's get my bow. I kind of want to pull them. Because when we get closer, we are going to run into orcs, so... I still can't use that, can I? So they're called biters. Oh, I got their attention. Stop doing that. Wow, they hit pretty hard. But I hit harder. Alright, now someone had... fucking hell, who was it? I think it was Resort Obe, had told me that he and most people seem to find this game easier to play without the mouse. But truth be told, the problems I'm having have nothing whatsoever to do with mouse controls. It's the it's just the really narrow window for using actually the movement keys when you're fighting. That's what I'm having trouble with. The mouse is not bothering me at all in any way, shape, or form. It's just getting the timing right for these, and then there's always a little kind of glitchy input detection, and also other problems where, for example, you take a hit and then you just can't do anything for a few seconds. Those are the only problems I'm really having. Anyway, here's our first orc. When he gets closer, he'll probably see us and then run towards us. Yep. So, let's see how this goes, because this guy's going to be pretty rough, I imagine. Well, I can take him down pretty easily, but it'll probably hit pretty hard. Actually, I did want to take a closer look at these things over here to kind of discuss why I think these are actually domesticated by the orcs. You see, they've actually got harnesses on them. They almost look like muzzles, but obviously they're not really muzzles because these things can still bite us. But they seem to be harnesses. So, there's also other creatures called Orc Dogs in this game, which are interesting, because they don't appear in Gothic 2. They actually get replaced by a new creature called a Warg, which is much more... which is a creature much more rooted in classic fantasy settings. So... But the Orc Dogs are interesting because they're yet another creature that the Orcs have actually domesticated for, I imagine, hunting and combat, like war. So we see down there's another Orc who's already at battle ready. Nice. That one was actually just fighting a Templar and he just killed him. Now, it gets a bit funny in here, because when we come in here, we see the orcs fighting the Templars, but sometimes the Templars don't die as quickly as this one did, and it gets a little funny because they were not meant to still be alive. Alright, now, I think one of the things that the Iron Keep patch was supposed to fix were like problems with the winches, where the winches wouldn't activate properly, and like if you let them go, you couldn't use them again. So for example, this one I can open and close now. I think before, once I had grabbed it, like the one in the old mine leading to the crawler nest, I had showed you that once you put your hands on it, you couldn't use it again. So I think the Iron Keep patch was supposed to fix that. Alright, so let us step inside and see what horrors await. Or not. Well, here we are. And boy, is this a bit morbid. Now it's interesting because these skulls are pretty small. They do look fairly subhuman. So I'm kind of wondering if these are supposed to be orc skulls. Because it wouldn't make sense for them to line the Orc Cemetery with human skulls. At the same time, that might be sort of a fanatical sort of warrior or like warmongering devotion to their deceased. So, we've run into a few orcs so far. This place was supposed to be a cemetery, but I see more living orcs than dead ones. Now, there's a bunch of little alcoves here, which are pretty interesting. They're full of loot, and certainly worth looking at. But we're gonna hold off on that. Oh, see here? Here's one of the living Templars. You can't even talk to him. He's not meant to be alive. In fact, they don't even fight back. We simply killed these... Yeah, we simply killed these orcs too quickly for him to actually kill this guy, so... We're gonna stick with continuities.
You won't have much time to be sorry for it.
Wait, what? What? Why is he getting up so fast?
You won't have much time to be sorry for it.
What the hell's going on? Something's really wacky here. There we go. Sorry, brother. We just have to keep things consistent. You're supposed to be dead, so you're dead. So, actually, rushing in here was probably foolish. Now, yeah, see, for some reason these orcs, their AI is very weird in here. They're not even really drawing their weapons. They're well aware of me. Ow! Whoa! Whoa! Wow! You scared me. Yeah, like their response to enemies is a little bit off. It takes them forever to actually react to you. Let me just listen closely. Yeah, you hear someone screaming in the background there? So, down here, first of all, we see another Templar just kind of standing there doing nothing, simply because the orcs have not targeted him yet. But we also see this guy, Balukor. He is the guru who is leading the Templars here. And we can see he's not really putting up much of a fight. He's really going to town on these guys and not doing a lick of damage. But the same can be said for them. They are trying to tear him to pieces, and in no way are they succeeding. So altogether, it's kind of an mutual exercise in futility here. But it's pretty amusing to watch. Now he's got a fourth one coming at him. And for some reason, everyone's just ignoring this Templar, and this Templar is ignoring everyone. So once again, we can't allow this to happen. This is an affront to God. Anyway, since this is all going nowhere, we might as well speed things along. Wait, why is he attacking me? What are you doing, you madman? Get away from me! Are you nuts?
Yeah, buzz off!
Can you chill for a minute?
Thanks for your help. You really arrived in the last moment.
Cor Angar sent me. Have you found any sign of the sleeper?
Not so far. But what about Iberian? Has he come to yet?
No, he's still unconscious.
We need to solve the riddle of these caves. After all these dreadful losses, I can't go back to the community empty-handed. But my fighting skills are limited, and the orcs don't react to my magic spells like the gullible people in the old camp do. If our brotherhood sent you, maybe you could help me with the further investigation of this tomb.
Maybe.
I came across some dead Templars on the way here. What happened?
Master Cor Angar sent us here to investigate the caves. We expected to find nothing but stuffy graves and half-decomposed mummies. Suddenly, the darkness shifted and there were orcs everywhere. I don't know what they're looking for here, but their appearing here is more than unusual.
Where are the other Templars?
Dead. I unwittingly led them to their destruction. I hope this sleeper will pardon me.
I'll help you.
Good. Excellent. There are 3 tunnels leading out of this hall. We should search them all. Go ahead. I'll follow you.
Alright, once again we must play the vanguard, as it were.